So the lie began from the very beginning of time, right? And I can ask you one question right now. What does history tell you about Africa? Who discovered Africa? If you write right now on Google who discovered Africa, you find out that is one white man that he came and discovered Africa. And you can ask yourself that how can you discover a place that already exists? How can you discover a place that people already live in that place? It is impossible, but that's what the history tells us. That's what people believe about Africa, that it was discovered by a white man. This guy, he came, and then he went back, he gave a report, and then the next we know is colonialism, because those guys, they sat somewhere to divide Africa like a piece of cake, because they discovered it, they own it, it belonged to them. But that is us. We discovered, we're the first people to know. And today you have a lot of people around the world that they think that Africa was discovered by them.
Magic. 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 Magic.
Distinguished delegates, any moment now, the heads of state will be coming in. May once
Mabibi
more
na
request
mabwana, wajumbe
all of
ajuadi,
us
muda wowote
standing to
kutoka
please take our
hapa,
seats now.
wakuu wa nchi
May
za
request
Afrika
all of us
watakuwa
standing to
wakiingia.
please take our seats
Kwa
now.
hiyo tuombe kila
We are
mtu
about to commence the program.
achukue nafasi yake. Muda si punde tunaanza programu yetu ya
If
siku
you
ya
do not
leo.
know where to sit,
Kama hujui wapi
can we
unatakiwa
help you
kukaa,
or assist you to get your
tafadhali
seat?
tunaweza kukusaidia upate
If you do
eneo la
not have a
kuketi.
seat in here,
Kama hauna
I still
nafasi
see
kwa
quite a few
upande
empty
wa
seats
hapa chini, bado
up.
kuna nafasi
If you
katika
can go
sakafu
there,
ya pili,
it will be
unaweza
nice.
ukakaa pale
No
kwenye
one will
upande
be
wa meza
allowed
9.
to stand
Hakuna yeyote
when we are starting
atakayeruhusiwa
the program.
kusimama
In the
tutakapoanza
meantime, may I
programu hii.
request once
Wakati
again
huu
to please
niendelee kuwaomba
let's take our
kwamba
seats as we
tuchukue
are about to
nafasi
start the
zetu kwa
program.
kuwa muda
Thank you
si
very much.
punde tunaanza programu yetu. Asanteni sana.
so glad I know. No many friends are moving solo. Eyes on the bag, I'm chasing that door. No matter what them do, I'm not looking back. Steady moving forward and they my back. Jaja them inside, so me no go lag. The Holy Ghost fire when them try attack. The Holy Ghost fire when them try attack. If only them know the place where I come from, them no go ever wanna see me fall. If only them know the things that I've been through, them no go ever pray me go fall. If only them know the place where I come from, them no go ever wanna see me fall. If only them know the things that I've been through, them no go ever pray me go fall. You know this boy waiting, I don't fix. Man can't talk waiting, I don't see. Bounce I speak from experiences. Hustle and 9 out 5 and 6. No slowing down, get a long way to go. Men feed it up, then can bring me low. I be 100 and then be 0. I take the lead, all of them they follow. With the price, child, my Christ. Don't give an F about their lies. Them catching feelings, I'm catching flights. Them talking cause I'm doing the try. No slowing down, get a long way to go. And for the top, them can't bring me low. I be 100 and them be 0. I take the lead, all of them they follow. If only them know the place where I come from, them no go ever wanna see me fall. If only them know the things that I've been through, them no go ever pray me go fall. If only them know the place where I come from, them no go ever wanna see me fall. If only them know the things that I've been through, them no go ever pray me go fall. Waiting, I don't see. Man can't talk waiting, I don't see. Bounce my feet from experiences. Hustle and 9 out 5 and 6. No slowing down, just a long way to go. I be 100 and then be 0.
Most magic.
Become a liar every single time I hold ya, yeah. Become a liar every single time I touch ya, yeah. Or remove my
gentlemen, if we could all please rise as our heads of state and
Tusimame
our guests
sasa
arrive into the auditorium. Thank you very
kwa
much for your kind
wageni
attention.
wetu wa
Let's clap our hands as we take our seats. Excellencies, you're welcome to take your seats. Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, the President of the United Republic of Tanzania. Ladies and gentlemen, the third. I would also like to recognize the presence of His Excellency Umaro Sisoko Embalo, President of the Republic of Guinea-Bissau. I would also like to recognize the presence of His Excellency Lazarus McCarthy Chakwera, President of the Republic of Malawi. Excellency, allow me to also recognize the presence of His Excellency Dr. Mohamed El Menfi, Chairman of the Presidential Council of the State of Libya. I would also like to recognize the presence of His Excellency Hakainde Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia. Your Excellency, allow me to recognize the presence of His Excellency William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya. Allow me also to recognize the presence of His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Your Excellency, allow me to also recognize the presence of His Excellency General Brice Kotar Oligui Nguema, President of the Gabonese Republic. Your Excellency, allow me to recognize the presence of His Excellency Joseph Nyuma Bokai Sr., President of the Republic of Liberia. I would also like to recognize the presence of His Excellency Taye Atske Selassie, President of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia. Your Excellency, allow me to recognize the presence of His Excellency Duma Gideon Boko, President of Republic of Botswana. I would also like to recognize the presence of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana. Your Excellency, allow me to also recognize the presence of Her Excellency Miriam Chabi Talata, the Vice President of the Republic of Benin. I would also like to recognize the presence of His Excellency Mohamed Jallo, Vice President of the Republic of Gambia. I would also like to recognize the presence of His Excellency Professor Yami Osinbajo, former Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Your Excellency, allow me to also recognize the presence of Honorable Raila Odinga, former Prime Minister of the Republic of Kenya. Your Excellency, allow me to also recognize the presence of the retired Honorable Robina Nabanja, Prime Minister of the Republic of Uganda. Your Excellency, allow me to also recognize the presence of Honorable Ali Mahman Lemi Zain, Prime Minister of the Republic of Niger. Your Excellency, we have in our midst allow me, Your Excellency, to presence of Honorable Dr. Rico de Oliveira, Prime Minister of the Democratic Republic of Sao Tome and Principe. Your Excellency, allow me to also recognize the presence of Honorable Tulisile Lala, Deputy Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Eswatini. I would also like to recognize the presence of Honorable John Mutowa, Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister of Works and Transport of the Republic of Namibia. Allow me also to recognize the presence of Honorable Gaudencio Mohaba Mesu, Deputy Prime Minister of the Republic of Equatorial Guinea. I would also like to recognize the presence of our very own Honorable Dr. Mashaka Biteko, Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister of Energy of the United Republic of Tanzania. Your Excellency, allow me to recognize the presence of Mrs. Amina Mohammed, Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations. Allow me also to recognize the presence of Honorable Mokhtar Babayev, President of the COP COP29 and the Minister of Ecology and Natural Resources of the Republic of Azerbaijan. Your Excellency, allow me to recognize the presence of Mr. Elias Mahosi, Executive Secretary of the Southern Africa Development Community, SADC. I would also like to recognize the presence of Dr. Amani Abu Zaid, representing His Excellency Mr. Musa Faki Mahamat, Chairperson of the African Union Commission. dear partners and co-organizers of the Africa Energy Summit, honorable heads of national institutions of the United Republic of Tanzania, Your Excellency Professor Oluyemi Osinbajo, former Vice President of the Republic of Nigeria, honorable ministers present, Your Excellencies, heads of diplomatic mission, heads of international institution and development partners present, dear executive directors of the African Development Bank and those from the World Bank, senior management and staff of the African Development Bank and those of the World Bank, distinguished guests, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome you all to Tanzania. This is Africa Heads of State Energy Summit. Your Excellency, allow me to recognize in a very special way the National Organizing Committee from the Ministry of Energy of the United Republic of Tanzania, as was led by Commissioner Innocent Luoga, that of the World Bank team led by Nathan Belete, and that of the African Development Bank Country Office led by Ms. Patricia Levely. Your Excellency, without further ado, allow me now to take it forward from ideas to action to accelerate energy access, to invite to the podium Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, President of the African Development Bank Group, for his key remark, to be followed by that of Mr. Ajay Banga, President of the World Bank Group. As it comes, ladies and gentlemen, Excellencies, let's give him a big round of applause. Karibu, karibu sana.
Your Excellency, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, my dear sister, and our own generous host. Thank you very much, Madam President. Your Excellency, Mohamed Ould Ghazouani, President of the Islamic Republic of Mauritania and Chairman of the African Union. Your Excellencies, heads of states and government, the Chairperson of the African Union Commission, the Deputy Secretary General of United Nations, my dear sister Amina Mohammed, the President of the World Bank Group, my brother Ajay, President of Rockefeller Foundation, Raj, heads of multilateral development finance institutions, honorable ministers, private sector leaders, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Africa Energy Summit. I wish to thank Your Excellency President Samia Suluhu Hassan for graciously and generously hosting us for this summit. You are such a remarkable leader. And it's always a joy to be in Tanzania. I wish to express our deepest appreciation to the Chairman of the African Union, President Ghazouani, the President of the Islamic Republic of Mauritania, for co-hosting this summit. I am extremely grateful to you, Your Excellencies, heads of state and government, for honoring our invitation, for being here in such large and unprecedented numbers. It shows the high priority and the political commitment you place on expanding the access of your populations to electricity. Access to electricity is critical for Africa's economic growth. The lack of adequate electricity reduces the GDP of Africa by 2 to 4%. Your Excellencies, since the African Development Bank Group launched the New Deal on Energy for Africa in 2016, at the start of my first term as President of the African Development Bank, working with all our partners, significant progress has been made in expanding access to electricity. The share of the population with access to electricity in Africa significantly increased from 39% in 2015 to 52% in 2024. The African Development Bank Group has supported over 25 million people to have access to electricity. However, despite the progress being made, Africa still has 571 million people without electricity, accounting for 83% of the global population without electricity. Over 1 billion people do not have access to clean cooking solutions, which negatively impacts on women's health, children's health, and lives. We must take decisive actions to further drive down these numbers. And that is why Ajay Banga, president of the World Bank Group, and I joined together to launch the Mission 300 with the goal of expanding access of 300 million people in Africa to electricity by 2030. Mission 300 has grown into a global movement, and we were joined by the African Union, Commission, several global partners, including the Rockefeller Foundation, the Sustainable Energy for All of the United Nations, the Global Energy Alliance for People and Planet, and we are not alone. We have just been joined as well by the Islamic Development Bank, the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, the French Development Agency, Agence Française de Développement, and several bilateral development agencies. We will not succeed, Your Excellencies, if we do not work closely and more openly with more space for the private sector. And that is why we are delighted that several leading CEOs from around the world have joined us today. Critical reforms will be needed to expand the share of renewables, improve functioning and performance of utilities, transparency in licensing, power purchase agreements, and predictable tariffs regimes that reflect the cost of production. The private sector will also need to play a critical role to expand mini-grids and off-grid systems to reach millions of people without access to grid-based power in rural areas. Our collective effort is to support you, our heads of state and government, to develop and to implement clear actions embedded in country-led national energy compacts, your compacts, to deliver on your visions for electricity in your respective countries. The African Development Bank and the World Bank have developed a very clear path to achieving the 300 million access goal. Together, the African Development Bank and the World Bank will commit $40 billion towards the Mission 300. With $18.2 billion from the African Development Bank and $22 billion from the World Bank Group. And Ajay will talk about that when he comes on board. It is an unprecedented alliance. Thank you very much, Ajay. We couldn't have done this without you. Thank you so much. And thank you very much to Rasha, President of Rockefeller Foundation, for providing critical technical assistance, support of $20 million that made the preparation of the country energy compacts possible. Thank you very much to you and your colleagues. Your Excellencies, support for Mission 300 keeps pouring in. Yesterday, at the first day of the summit, several development partners made huge announcements in support of Mission 300. The President of the Islamic Development Bank Group announced $2.65 billion in support. The President of the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank announced $1.5 billion in support. The President of the OPEC Fund announced $1 billion in support. And the French government will be making a major announcement today. We are confident that other development partners here and elsewhere will join us and announce their respective commitments either today and after. Your Excellencies, as I close, I'd like to thank you and to say we need your personal leadership to get this done. Together, let us decisively use Mission 300 to deliver 300 million people in Africa with access to electricity in all your countries by 2030. The African Development Bank's $20 billion Desert to Power program will complement Mission 300 and develop 10,000 megawatts of solar power across 11 Saharan countries and provide access to electricity for an additional 250 million people. Therefore, the Mission 300 and the Desert to Power working collectively will provide 550 million Africans with electricity. That, Your Excellencies, will deliver universal access to electricity for Africa. What a difference that will make for your respective countries. And what a difference that will make for Africa. You will be remembered, Your Excellencies, as the presidents who gave your countries 100% access to electricity. You will be remembered as the presidents who said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Thank you very much, and asante sana.
Can we extend another round of applause to Dr. Akimumi Adesina, President of the African Development Bank, for that wonderful remark. From ideas to action to accelerate energy access, Your Excellency, allow me now to invite to the podium Mr. Ajay Banga, President of the World Bank Group, for his remarks, to be followed by Dr. Rajiv Shah, President of the Rockefeller Foundation. As he gets to the stage, let's give him another round of applause.
Madam President, I want to start by thanking you, like all of us have done since yesterday, for the generosity, but also the focus and energy of your government and your people to making this possible. Thank you once again. And to my partners, Akin and Raj, I could not believe that we would get to this point when we started this journey last year. It started out at the spring meetings of the World Bank IMF meeting, and it started out with us saying that the World Bank would reach 250 million people by 2030, and the African Development Bank would add 50 million. And then Raj Shah called me up a few days later and said, "I have a proposal for you. I'd like to help you." And that spirit of contribution that Akin and Raj have shown from day one is why we are all here together. So thank you to both of you. I have a very simple agenda for all of us here, heads of state, who are showing your participation and your support for us. We need every ounce of your support. But the reality is, your people need it even more than all of us do. Over the next decade, 360 million young people in Africa will be ready to enter the workforce. That same decade, the African system is expected to only offer jobs to 150 million of these, leaving 3 out of every 5 young people without the opportunity of a job, which gives you not just earning, but dignity. And I think if Africa is to achieve its objectives of taking advantage